Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
What are you going to do when Windows 10 isn't supported anymore?
Remember one day, maybe was the first day of my life. You came to my heart, my eyes wide open to you.
That's the title of the video, probably. And that's the question I have for you today. I guess I'm just making this video because people don't really think all that much nowadays, since we are mostly on autopilot mode. So I just want to propose a topic to you that you can think about and share your own thoughts about it in the comments. I am asking this question to myself because I noticed that Windows 10 support stops on the 14th of October 2025. And that piqued my interest. It got me intrigued. I don't want to use Windows 11 for obvious reasons, such as the lack of user-friendly practices by Microsoft, such as collecting your data, pushing updates that will limit your control over the system, and that's the thing. The main difference between Windows 10 and 11 is that Windows 11 is even more integrated with Microsoft's cloud, making it harder to avoid updates and making it easier for them to push even worse updates. I think Windows 11 was completely unnecessary, or at least it was unnecessarily rushed. They made a new operating system for what? Just to get you to buy a new computer and throw out the old one that was perfectly fine? And before I move on, I must admit that Windows 10 and 11 can easily have some of their telemetry removed, but that does not mean it's worth it. That does not mean that we should keep up with this. Why should we even suffer? Why should we constantly be looking to remove more and more telemetry when we can just not suffer and use a GNU/Linux system that would be pain-free, or at least it will be better than where this is. And I'll give you some examples of programs that will actually let you remove some of the telemetry or spyware that is prominent in almost all Windows operating systems. There are programs such as WinAero Tweaker. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'll move on. We also have Chris Titus's Windows Utility, which has tweaks letting you remove things such as Cortana or Microsoft Store. It lets you remove a lot of bloat, making the system more minimal, and it lets you download easily a lot of programs that might actually be good. It also makes life easier by having a button that allows you to update all of your software with just one click. One single click. A Windows user could never comprehend this. One day, I got back home from work and I turned on my PC just to see in my system tray that Windows 11 was scheduled to install on my computer. Thankfully, I disabled that. I stopped the download. But just think about that. It was automatically going to update Windows 10 without my consent, without my permission. By the way, the logo design for Windows 10 is actually genius because it's the same as the Microsoft logo. It's just, the Windows blue colors, signalizing that it's the closest operating system to Microsoft. They are intertwined and work together to steal your information. Also, have you ever thought about why Microsoft lets you switch to Windows 11 for free? Because although you might not be paying money, you're paying with your data. Nothing in this world is free. And from my perspective, I only have three options. I could either continue using Windows 10 with no security updates and probably get hacked or something. I could pay Microsoft for security updates for about only 3 years, and even then, if I pay the price, each year it's gonna get doubled. So like the first year is going to be $61, The next one is going to be 122, and the third year is going to be 244. Wow, that's a lot of money. Or I could just switch to Linux for free.
All users of Windows are suckers.
And I'll be honest, I like Windows 10 because it's convenient. It doesn't cause me problems. But Microsoft is such a bad company for forcing people to switch. Some people can't even switch because they don't meet the modern day system requirements. What about them? Just buy a new computer? That's what Microsoft's saying. They just want you to throw out the old computer, throw it, and they don't care about the garbage, they don't throw about old systems, they just want to keep printing money. Microsoft really is making it hard for me to like Windows 11. I'm thinking about switching to Linux for various reasons. Those mainly being privacy, the feeling of community whenever you talk to Linux nerds, and the constant drive to always learn something more in Linux. As time goes on, I see myself playing less and less video games, so I don't see Linux being a burden, since before Steam made Proton, a program that helps you run more games on Linux, it was really hard to find games that you can play on Linux. But now, thankfully to Steam and Proton, it's been made very easily. Yeah. I'm just telling you if you want to know, right? If you're interested. And one of the things that I really like about Linux is that the operating system doesn't limit you. It doesn't control you, but instead it lets you control the operating system, just like it should be. So let's say you want to delete your entire operating system in Windows. You can't. But in Linux, all you need to do is you need to be an admin, which of course you would be admin, it's your computer, right? And then you can nuke your operating system with no problem. It doesn't limit you at all. Or, you can just skip Linux entirely and just go for Tempo OS. Live your life. The only problem I might have with Linux, that isn't even Linux's fault, but more so the companies behind popular software, is that they don't make their software available for Linux. So, my plan is to use Linux on my laptop just so I can get used to everything, but for my main machine, I want to give Linux 2 years, whenever Windows 10 stops being supported by Microsoft, and then I'll just wait for Linux to get better than it already is, and once the deadline comes, I'll switch to Linux. I'll probably figure out how to make a Windows virtual machine just so I can run the software. Software such as Sony Vegas and Paint.net and other. And please, if you're interested, and if you also want to switch to Linux, do me and especially yourself a favor by not using Ubuntu. You know what happened when support for Windows 7 ended? A lot of people went and started using Linux. So that was their call to start using Linux. Support for Windows 10 ending is your call. This is your time to shine.